Hi there, I'm Victoria Pete, and today I'm going to show you how to make a Scrappy 4-patch block. So if you're not aware of a 4-patch is essentially a block that is made up from 4 individual little squares. And in this video I'm going to show you a really simple, quick and easy way of making these blocks with minimal fuss and nice and quick. So to begin with, I'm going to be working with some 5-inch squares, but if you like you can be working with a 4-inch square or 10-inch squares, anything you like. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with a large square and eventually they're going to be cut down in size. So this is the size of our starting square, and then these are the size of the 4-patch blocks that we're going to end up with. So if you've got something like a charm pack or something, have a route through your fabrics. You might have something in your stash. Have a bunch of squares all exactly the same size. What I'm doing here on this one is I'm just making sure that I have a nice mix of light and dark fabrics, and I've not got anything too similar, because the more variety you have, the more scrappy the end result will be. So to begin with, I'm going to just start off with my 2 squares and I'm going to place them right sides together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that those raw edges are together, and I'm going to sew down both of these sides. I'm currently chain piecing these, so I've got a couple that I've already done here. So I'm going to add these to this selection that I've already done, and I'm going to sew down this one side using a standard 1/4 inch as we normally do in patchwork and quilting. As I'm going to sew along that edge. Then we need to sew down the other side of each of these pieces, and you can see here I've chain pieced. So I'm going to just sew along the opposite side in those pairs. When I get to a couple of stitches length from the edge, I'll feed the next set through. And again, bring the next pair. Try and make sure that those raw edges are matching. And it's nice if you can do it in this way, because it just speeds up the process if you can do a bit of chain piecing at the same time. And then my final set. And then we're done. So you can see here each pair of squares I've sewn together. Let's show it on this side. You can see a little bit better. You can see, oh look, a bit of nesting, that's naughty. You've got a 1/4 inch seam on each 5-inch square, each of those pairs. I'm going to just chop those apart so that you can see each of those individually. Twisted those round. So when you're pairing your fabrics, try and if you haven't got a charm pack and you're just dealing with fabrics in your stash, try and get as many fabrics as you can, and try not to do the same pairings more than once, or try and just mix them up as much as you can, because the more that you mix them up, the better the results you're going to get. So we've got here, this is your 5-inch square sewn down each side. What we're going to do is we're now going to chop these in half down their length. So whatever size square you started with, just chop them in half. So we've got a 5-inch here, so I'm going to chop from this raw edge 2.5. Don't cut across your stitches, you're cutting between your two lines of stitching. So I've got my ruler, and I'm just going to place the 2.5-inch line against the raw edge on one side, and you've got the stitching running parallel with the lines on your ruler. So I'm going to cut that in half. So from that you get 2 sets of rectangles that are joined together. So I'm going to repeat that again with another set. Again, take your finished measurement, your starting measurement, and chop it in half. So if you've started off with a nice big 10-inch square, you'll be cutting at 5 inches to cut those in half. And again, you've got 2 matching rectangles. I'll do it one more time. Let's choose a different one. different colours. Again, 2.5 inches along that raw edge on this side, cutting between your two lines of stitching. So again, you've got yourself your rectangles. So from here, I'm going to do a bit of pressing. I'll put those to one side, put my blocks to one side. Just going to press those flat, and then I'm going to press away just to one side. And again, if you've got similar pairings, just flip them over and press in the opposite direction. So where's my other pair from this one? I've lost it. Where's it gone? It's in here somewhere. So the other one, I think I would be tempted, press that flat, but then press that in the other direction. Just gives you a bit more variety when you come to the next step. So give all of those a press. Set the seam. Do a couple more. And once you've got yourself a nice stack of rectangles, so I've got a stack here that I've already got, then what you need to do is you need to take these, again, take randomly, and you want to be able to join them together in one long strip. So I've got a strip that I've started here, where you start to join them all together. So I'm going to join onto the end of this. So what you need to be thinking about is this junction here is that these are maybe 2 darks and 2 lights, or that you don't have 2 prints the same next to each other here. Try and be random, but try not to get the same prints butting up against each other. So I'm going to take this one here, and on top of that I'm going to lay one of my other rectangles. So I'm going to take one, so that's got the same print in it here, so I wouldn't look to join those two together. You might do it this way because you'll have the print opposite sides to each other, but I would think I would be more tempted to just choose 2 prints that are entirely different to what I've already got. What I've also done is I've got the seam on this block, these 2 pieces here facing in this direction, and I've chosen another piece where the seam is going in this direction. So I'm going to place those right sides together, and you can feel them nesting underneath, and get your right sides joining. Feel that they're nesting, and then we're going to sew down this shorter edge. Quarter of an inch seam allowance down that short edge, and then you would just continue. Don't worry about what's happened further up this end. Don't look at the colour placement. You're just looking at these 2 end colours and what you're going to place next to them. So let's have a look at this pairing here. So I'm looking at these 4 colours together. Place that one right sides together because I'm happy with those. And I'm going to sew down that short edge. Make sure the seams are nesting, because to have a nesting seam will mean that you're more likely, it's not guaranteed, but you're more likely to get points that match. Okay, oh, that wasn't quite caught. So here we've got your nice big long strip. And then what I'll do is I will take it, again, we'll give it an iron. Press flat, and then I'll press all the seams. I'll just do in one direction as I go along the length. We'll press that one. Press flat and then press away. Try not to distort your fabric. Press flat and press away. Okay, so you can do one big long strip, or you can do several shorter strips. It's up to you. And then when you're ready, you then come to a point where you start to chop these up, and this will start to give you your 4 patches. So we'll flip over this one side over the top of the other one, and because we've got the seams that were nested and they're going in the opposite direction to each other, they sit really nicely on top of each other. We're then going to measure from this raw edge inwards, again, half of the measurement that you started with. Because I started with a 5 inch, I'm going to measure 2.5 inches from this raw edge. I'm going to cut parallel with that line of stitching. And there's your 2.5. Okay, from that cut, what you end up with is a little piece with 2, and then you're also going to get your 4 patch, which is fab. So we've got 1 4 patch there. The next cut you do is you flip over that little piece here, and then we're going to cut 2.5 inches from this raw edge, or in line with this raw edge here. But I like to go from the raw edge on the very outside edge here. So go 2.5 inches. Try and get it straight. And chop. That gives you another scrappy. So those 2 have just come from what we've got. And then we'll go 1 more so you can see the process again. 2.5 inches, half your original size, to give you another 4 patch. So you can see how quickly that starts to come together and the variety that you can get. I'll just swizzle those around, and then you can just play with your layout and try and find something that you're happy with and start to pull together all your blocks. So you can create something really pretty, really lovely, and it comes together nice and quick. So just to summarize quickly, you start off with your 2 pieces of fabric, place them right sides together, sew down, let's flip this side, you sew down 1 edge each side, you then take that and you chop it in half between the stitching along here, and then that will give you your 2 sets of rectangles. Press your seams in one direction, and then you're going to join these onto other rectangles, and then you flip and cut in half. So hopefully that is a good introduction for you into the 4 patch and how you can create a nice scrappy effect with either what's in your stash, or if you've bought a pre-cut set of fabric, something like that. So if you've got any questions, drop me a line. I'm normally on Facebook or Instagram, or leave me a comment on YouTube, and I will see if I can get back to you. But I hope that makes sense, and I hope that you can create something really nice. See you next time. Bye.